one after another of great Dharma King Yangwo Yisinubu's disciple attains great accomplishment. Ms. Tang from Sichuan also attained great liberation from the cycle of reincarnation and left behind more than 200 Sariras, relics. Asian Journal. September 25 to 28, 2004. Reporter Zhuo Ga. Tang Hui was a disciple of great Dharma King Yangwo Yisinubu. She was a native of Xingfan in the city of Chengdu in Sichuan province. Her Dharma name was Hui. She lived to be 84 years old. After 11 p.m. on August 31, 2004, which was July 16 of the Chinese lunar calendar, Amitabha Buddha escorted her to the western paradise of ultimate bliss. Relatives and friends of Tang Hui called her Madam Tang. All of the members of her family, both young and old, have cultivated themselves for many years according to the teachings of the great Dharma King. She would often tell people, "My children and grandchildren all learn the correct Dharma from the great Dharma King Master. In my entire life, this is what makes me most happy and proud." Madam Tang was extremely respectful toward the great Dharma King. The great Dharma King showed loving care for Madam Tang. For example, Madam Tang once suffered from an inflamed shoulder. She could not lift her arm, and the pain she felt was difficult to endure. The great Dharma King consoled her by saying, "Do not worry. I will treat you with one acupuncture needle and you will be well." At the time, it was the coldest part of winter. Using one needle, the great Dharma King administered the galloping horse wonderful needle acupuncture treatment through her thick, multi-layered winter clothes. She was cured right then and there. Even when she related the story many years later, she still expressed wonder and amazement. One day in June of this year, she told her family, "Last night I saw a very tall and very large Dharma protecting deity. His face was as big as a door. He told me that in the last half of this year, I will pass on to the western paradise of ultimate bliss." What she meant by the last half of this year was the time period from July to December according to the Chinese lunar calendar. On August 15, which was June 30 according to the Chinese lunar calendar, Madam Tang showed signs that she was on the verge of death. Her family immediately reported this to the great Dharma King. Because of the great Dharma King's Dharma powers, that evening Madam Tang became extremely serene. Not only was Madam Tang serene, the inside and outside of her home, including the entire garden, was filled with an auspicious atmosphere. The next day, which was July 1 according to the Chinese lunar calendar, a few Buddhists arrived at about noon to chant mantras and sutras for the benefit of Madam Tang. They saw floating in the sky a cloud strip in the form of a hatta, white silk scarf. That cloud strip stretched across the sky. The sky above the Chengdu Basin at night had for quite a while been covered with dark clouds. However, that night, an expanse of clear sky suddenly opened up only over the courtyard where Madame Tang lived. The numerous stars twinkled like diamonds. It was that night when the crown of Madame Tang's head opened. Madame Tang continued to recite mantras and chant the name of Amitabha Buddha diligently according to the instructions of the great Dharma King. She drank only a small amount of glucose water every day and lived off of her meditation. She used all of her time to meditate and intone the holy names of Amitabha Buddha and the great Dharma King. She diligently did this for more than 20 days. Her mind was lucid, her speech was smooth, and her mouth emitted a fragrant scent. Her neighbors were amazed. At around 11 p.m. on August 31st, which was July 16th according to the Chinese lunar calendar, the daughter of Madame Tang, Tang Yurong, was combing her mother's hair. As she was combing her hair, Madame Tang suddenly turned over on her right side, thus manifesting the auspicious recumbent posture. Tang Yurong noticed that her mother suddenly began to smile. A current of heat filled the top of Madame Tang's head. Madame Tang maintained her smiling expression. A bright and auspicious atmosphere filled the room. Madame Tang was motionless. Tang Yurong immediately told someone to report this to the great Dharma King. The great Dharma King said, "She has already attained liberation. She is accomplished." Tang Yurong then turned around to take another look at her mother. She saw that the skin of Madame Tang's face had turned to a rosy color. This was a wonderful sign that Amitabha Buddha had escorted her to the Western paradise of ultimate bliss. Those who were there chanting mantras for her benefit, and those friends and relatives who were there at the time, were all very moved. In the afternoon of September 6th, which was July 22nd according to the Chinese lunar calendar, the body of Madame Tang was cremated at the Baoguang Temple in Xindu, Sichuan. Before the cremation, nectar rained down from the sky. As soon as the cremation ceremony began with the chanting of mantras, holy scenes suddenly emerged from the cremation furnace. Those who were reciting the name of Amitabha Buddha to respectfully see Madame Tang off to the next world immediately applauded. Their loud applause soared up to the sky. Amid the chanting of Amitabha Buddha's name, there were shouts of astonishment, the sound of people crying with joy, the sound of happy laughter, and the sound of people making vows. Amid the raging flames in the furnace, red and blue light continually flashed. From that light emerged fire phoenix, golden-winged birds, golden dragon Dharma protecting deities, Vajra Dharma protecting deities who stood solemnly, auspicious tigers whose entire bodies emitted light, and golden lions whose mouths and eyes emitted blue lotuses. Great Dharma King Vajradhara Yangwo Yisinubu in his Dharma King image, his head protuberance image, this protuberance is a sign of a Buddha, and his master image also appeared, one after the other. Adharma Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva, and Master Tsongkhapa compassionately appeared on lotus thrones. Pagodas from the Western Paradise of Ultimate Bliss appeared at the same time that the majestic and lofty mountain Sumeru appeared. From the bottom of Madame Tang's feet and from her hands emerged a two-layered lotus throne that she sat upon in the lotus sitting posture. Her entire face was smiling, and her whole body emitted blue light that gradually merged with the light of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Holy Buddha land scenes continually appeared. In front of the cremation furnace, people exclaimed joyous shouts that reverberated to the sky. People were so moved that they loudly chanted the holy name of the great Dharma King. With tears streaming down their faces, they shouted words such as, "Homage to the great Dharma King Master. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. In the future, be sure to escort away my mother to the Western Paradise of Ultimate Bliss. Homage to the great Dharma King Master. I will surely seriously cultivate myself under your guidance. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Be sure to come and escort me away to the Western Paradise of Ultimate Bliss. The Buddha Dharma is so magnificent. I must attain great accomplishment. Great Dharma King Master, your Buddha Dharma is so magnificent. You teach one person and that person becomes accomplished, liberated. You teach two people and those two people become accomplished. We have seen with our own eyes person after person become accomplished. You are so magnificent. The cremation ceremony in which people respectfully saw Madame Tang off to the Western Paradise of Ultimate Bliss suddenly turned into a vow-making ceremony. While crying, many people vowed to learn and practice Buddhism under the great Dharma King and dedicate the merit of their practice to their family members. The Dharma names of Buddhists who were present at the cremation ceremony and who personally witnessed holy sites are as follows: Shi Xing Zhen, Shi Dao Pin, Shi Xing Lan, Shi Xing En, Shi Guangjing, Shi Dao Ji, Shi Ming Shi, Shi Ji Yuan, Shi Ji Hua, Shi Zhen Hua, Shi Zhen Lian, Shi Xing Rong, Shi Xing Qian, Shi De Feng, Shi Ji Feng, Shi De Yu, Shi Ji De, Shi De Kun, etc. That night, in the ashes of Madame Tang, 263 fragrant and firm Sariras, relics, were collected. This is truly another miracle in the history of Buddhism. In this vast human world, more than anything else, the prospect of death causes living beings to tremble with fear. To the ordinary person, death is a frightening abyss that they can never pass over. However, fortunately, we can now see that death seems to be an easy matter for those Buddhists, who devoutly practice and learn Buddhism under great Dharma King Yangwo Yisinubu. That is because the great Dharma King possesses the true Buddha Dharma that Sakyamuni Buddha possessed when he was alive. One after another of the great Dharma King's disciples have attained control over their own life and death, taken rebirth in the Western Paradise of Ultimate Bliss, and or become most excellent accomplished ones. The 13th Patriarch of Mountain Omei, who was the abbot of Kaihua Temple, attained control over his own life and death. His body does not rot. Elder layman Wang Lingzi, laywoman Wang Chen Yifen, layperson Ke Xiang Shao, layperson Zhao Xianyun, Shenzhou and Mark's wife in the United States, laywoman Tang Xia Hui described above, and many other disciples of the great Dharma King have taken rebirth in the Western paradise of ultimate bliss, under extremely auspicious circumstances. They have completely left behind the frightening sufferings connected with the cycle of reincarnation. Such true holy feats, which have occurred before our very eyes, make us clearly understand a fact that is beyond any doubt: in this very world is the true and correct Dharma of the Buddha, possessed by great Dharma King Yangwo Yisinubu. This is the authentic Buddha Dharma. The more than 200 Sariras, relics, shown in the above photograph are those of Madame Tang.